All right, it is Sonny Gray on the mound for the Cardinals today. There was a rain delay, but it'll be Shohei Ohtani leading off, and Gray is walking out to the mound right now. So Gray and Pajes making their way out of the dugout. Cardinals defense today has Nootbaar in left, Scott in center, and Vilade in right. So he made his way up to the major leagues. You have Donovan at second, Wynn at short, Contreras at first, Arenado at third, and Herrera playing DH with Pajes behind the plate. For the Dodgers, you have Shohei at DH, Freddie at first, Mookie at short, Muncy at third, Edman at second. So he makes his return to St. Louis. You have Rushing playing catcher, Conforto in left, Pajes in center, and Hernandez in right. So we'll have to deal with a really threatening offense. It's Ohtani, Betts, Freeman, Teoscar Hernandez, Max Muncy, who is really hot, and then Pajes, who's hitting really well as well, Conforto, Edman, and Rushing. Very, very scary offense. Hopefully Sonny Gray can have a great game and take care of it. You can see Sonny Gray's percentile stats right here. 7 pitching run value, pretty good on the year. Hasn't quite been his best, but still has been very solid this year. Really low walk rate at just 5%. Great strikeout rate at 27.2, and then the contact still above average stuff. So that'll work its way into his numbers as well. Game will be underway very soon here. Ohtani is getting ready. Scheduled start time was just about right now, but the whole infield appears to be getting ready. So we have a minute. Let's take a look at what Ryan Vilade was doing at the minor league level. Whoops, wrong one. Let's go over here. So at the major league level so far, hasn't been great in his career. Very low batting average, but what got him to the majors? Let's see how he was hitting this season. This year, at the AAA level, he has an .851 OPS, so that's pretty solid. 5 home runs, and that is what got him called up. It's been a long time with Colorado, Pittsburgh, Detroit. He's the guy we have in right field today, so we are ready to go. Ohtani's stepping up to the plate, so let's get over to the game. Make sure we're live. All right. Ohtani is ready. So is Sonny Gray. And here's the first pitch in St. Louis. In there for a strike with a 92-mile-an-hour fastball at the top of the zone. It's 0-1. Ohtani this year hitting .295 with a 1.037 OPS. On most teams, that would easily be the best hitter. Here's the 0-1. Pulled to second base. Donovan is there. And he records out number 1. So down goes Ohtani. I did bring up that he's not the best hitter on the Dodgers, though, because Freddie Freeman is hitting .363 with a 1.047. He's on deck right now. It's Mookie Betts stepping up to the plate. 1 out, nobody on. Let's go ahead and adjust this. Make sure everything's lined up. You go a little lower. All right. Gray missed low and away with the cutter. It's 1-0. So Mookie Betts not having his best year. A .751 OPS with a .259 average. Nowhere near what you'd expect from him this far into the season. Here's the 1-0. Right down the middle, crushed to left field, and he's going to get back on track here. This is going to be extra bases. An easy stand-up double for Mookie Betts. And the Dodgers have a runner in scoring position with just 1 out in the first. So that one just hung right down the middle of the plate. Mookie Betts was able to pull it and had plenty of room in left field to get it into the corner. 92 right over the middle. And there's a double for Mookie. You can't miss against a guy like that. So here comes Freddie Freeman with Mookie Betts in scoring position. First pitch. He is low and in with the curveball, 1-0. So Mookie on second base, 1-0 count on Freddie with 1 out in the first. Sonny Gray only on his 6th pitch of the game already, so a lot of contact. Here's the 1-0. Weird half swing by Freddie there at the top of the zone. It's 1-1. Looked like he didn't get a good read on that fastball. He's probably used to seeing a higher velocity than 92. But Gray is still finding the zone. Here's the 1-1. Swing and a miss on a curveball down and in. 1-2. So he chased that one. Doesn't look like he's seeing Gray's stuff too well. But he is hitting 363, so wouldn't surprise me if he found it right here. Here's the 1-2 to Freddie Freeman. Swing and a miss on a sweeper on the outside part of the plate, and down goes Freddie. So that was a nice pitch from Gray. Just a lot of deceitful pitching here from Gray. Tough to read it from Freddie's perspective. He went to the curveball down and in, and then was able to play the sweeper off of it on the outside part of the plate due to the different movement of the pitches. 2 outs, 1 on. It's now Teoscar Hernandez. Here's the first pitch. Up and away with the cutter, 1-0. Hernandez with an .803 OPS, 10 home runs on the year, hitting .272. Cardinals are playing him to pull, leaving a lot of space over to the right side of the infield. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Just low with the cutter, 2-0. Hernandez is 3 for 18 in his career against Sonny Gray. Does have 2 homers. That's something I wish they would just show you every time at the bottom of the screen, because it's really insightful. Here's the 2-0 pitch. Ground ball, shortstop, Mason Wynn is there. Makes a good throw, and we go to the bottom of the first. Just a double for Betts, but he gets stranded by Freeman and Hernandez. Still scoreless in St. Louis. It'll be Nootbaar, Wynn, and Donovan, the usual first 3 for the Cardinals. So now we can go ahead and take a look at the Dodgers starter today. That is Wrobleski. Justin Wrobleski. So he's not quite qualified yet. He did pitch last season as well. Wasn't great. Whip above 1.3. This is the only game of the series the Cardinals are coming in as the favorites due to this starting pitching matchup. He has started 1 game this year. 9 total innings pitched with an 8 ERA and 8 strikeouts. And last season, he threw 36 innings for 26 strikeouts. Still had that 1.3 whip, the ERA up at 5.7. So, I mean, that's not great, but he does have some pretty good fastball velo. Had a really high walk rate last year and a very low strikeout rate. This year, the stuff is better. You can see the chase rate is better. The ground ball rate is also much better. So maybe there's something there. He doesn't extend very well, but he is a lefty, so tough to adjust to that. Cardinals usually do pretty well against lefties, so I think I would have my money on the Cardinals if I was betting on this game, but that Dodgers offense is incredible. And it'll be Nootbaar, so in case anyone hasn't seen what Nootbaar's been up to this year, he's leading off. Has 9 batting run value, just good stats across the board, nothing insane, but 92nd percentile in hard hit rate with 53%. That's a really nice number, and then doesn't strike out a whole lot, walks a lot, 89th percentile in walk rate, 13.3%. Good in the outfield, I mean, just a good player all around. Very consistent. Only at 8 home runs, you'd like to see a couple more than that, but if he keeps it going for the whole season, I don't think there's anything to complain about. And the game is back. It looked like Wrobleski did catch the corner with that sinker, but didn't get the call. It's 1-0 on Nootbaar. Here is the 1-0 pitch. Up and in, ground ball, it's foul. 1-1. I'm going to go ahead and make sure I get live here. Here's the 1-1 pitch. at the bottom of the zone. It's pulled over to Freddie Freeman. He makes the flip, and Nootbaar is out. So 1 out in the bottom of the first, and that'll bring up Mason Wynn. I think there's only one guy in the Dodgers order that I haven't seen much of in his career, and that's Dalton Rushing, the catcher. I'll have to take a look at his stats when he comes up. But Tommy Edman is back in town. It'll be cool to see him hit. Here's the first pitch to Wynn. It's inside, but caught the inside part of the plate. 0-1. So 1 out, nobody on for Mason Wynn. He's hitting .273. Second pitch, a little bit low with the slider. 1-1. Wynn does have 6 home runs, so some of that power he is finding his bat. Here's the 1-1. Chopper over to short. Easy play for Mookie. And he makes it. So 2 down now in the first, and that'll bring up Brendan Donovan. Donovan is up there amongst the leaders in the NL in hits. I'm not sure if he still leads the NL in hits, but he's up there. Has a 314 average with an 830 OPS. He also hasn't found a whole lot of power this year, just 4 home runs. Here is the first pitch from Wrobleski. Outside part of the plate for a strike with the sinker. 0-1. That one came back into the zone, so it was a nice deceitful pitch there. Good pitch from Wrobleski. Second pitch, same exact spot. Low and away, 0-2. So Wrobleski going right after the Cardinal hitters. He's looking for a 9-pitch inning. Here's the 0-2 to Donovan. Check swing. He did not go. 1-2. That was 100 miles an hour at the top of the zone. Nice fastball velocity there. But didn't quite get the swing on that one. Here's the 1-2. Missed low with the slider. 2-2. Nobody on. 2-2 count. 2 outs in the bottom of the first. Brendan Donovan at the plate. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Missed low and away with the fastball. 3-2. So Donovan's battled back from an 0-2 count to a 3-2 count now. And Wrobleski's going to be at his 12th pitch of the inning. Donovan trying to battle for that second base spot in the All-Star game. Here's the 3-2 pitch. Upstairs, ball 4. So Wrobleski misses with 4 straight pitches. And that'll bring up Wilson Contreras with a man on in the first. Yesterday, Wilson Contreras was able to deliver a walk-off base hit and salvage a victory for the Cardinals. That was a huge one in the first of a doubleheader. Before the Cardinals dropped the nightcap, but that's okay. Contreras hitting .250 with a 719 OPS, but that mostly the dip is coming from a really poor start to this season, and he's picked it up since then. First pitch, ground ball foul, it's 0-1. Does have 36 RBIs, 6 home runs in 58 games this year. Wrobleski is set. Here's the 0-1 pitch to Contreras. Down the middle, but popped up. This one is playable in center field. Catch is made by Pajes. And we'll go to the second. It's still scoreless in St. Louis. Each team stranded a base runner in the first. So now we get to take a look at how some of these Dodger hitters are doing. Max Muncy, I'm hearing good things about him. Let's take a look. So a 773 OPS this year, but yeah, the page is starting to look better. Obviously last year, he was pretty good. 11 batting run value. Had a pretty good savant page going anyway. Just wasn't quite qualified. And this year does have 5 batting run value. 82nd percentile in the expected WOBA. Hits the ball hard, walks a crazy amount. 95th percentile with 15%. Hasn't been great in the field, but you don't expect it out of your 34-year-old third baseman. So that is what it is. Expected batting average isn't perfect, but you don't expect that either out of Max Muncy. He's a guy who walks a ton, and that's where a lot of that value is going to come. So that's Max Muncy. They have Andy Pages. I know he's having a good year. 88th percentile in batting value. Great in the outfield as well. 5 outs above average. I mean, look at this page. And this is a guy that nobody even talks about. 24 years old, 833 OPS, 12 home runs, 6 stolen bases. I mean, the exit velo is not perfect, but if you're hitting 289 and you're playing a fantastic center field, that's very, very impressive. So those are 2 guys you'd love to have on your team. And then Michael Conforto. Probably not going to be as impressed by his numbers, but can't have a perfect roster. Obviously a former Met. Yeah, -7 batting run value. Does still walk a lot, so he's still going to make pitchers throw pitches, and that has a lot of value in a lineup as well. So even their bad players, like statistically speaking, obviously Conforto's a solid player, but so far he's been bad despite this great walk rate, but still makes a pitcher throw pitches, and that value will add up. So we're back. First pitch is a strike to Max Muncy, and it's 0-1. Here's the second pitch from Gray. Just caught the low outside corner with a changeup. That's a perfect pitch from Gray. It's 0-2. I did hear that Max Muncy is wearing glasses now while hitting to fix astigmatism. Here's the 0-2 pitch. And you can see those if you're watching the broadcast. As Gray misses low with the sweeper, it's 1-2. So that might be contributing to Muncy being able to play every day. Cardinals outfield playing him pretty deep. Also playing him to pull. Here's the 1-2. Chopper over to short. Arenado's going to cut off Wynn and make the play. So playing him to pull worked out there. 1 out in the second, and that'll bring up Andy Pages. They're doing a little tornado recovery event today. So definitely take a look into the experiences that they're offering. I'm not going to bring it up again on mine, but this is just kind of a practice broadcast. So that's what's showing up. All right, so Sonny Gray going to the mound. Andy Pages at the plate. He is ready. This is going to be pitch 16 of the game for Sonny Gray. First pitch to Pages is driven foul, 0-1. That was 92, right in the middle of the zone. Pages has 12 home runs with an 832 OPS, already accumulating 2.3 WAR due to that great defense in center field. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Missed just outside with the cutter. It's 1-1. So it's going to be Pages, Conforto, and Edman, the next 3 hitters. Edman is due up first next inning if these next 2 hitters go down. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Swing and a miss on a sinker at the bottom of the zone. So good movement there from Gray to keep that barrel above the ball. It's 1-2. Pages does have a 10-game hitting streak going. 3 home runs during that streak. Here's the 1-2. Goes outside with the cutter, and it's fouled off by Pages, so we'll do it again. Gray's been pretty efficient so far. About to throw his 20th pitch, trying to get the second out of the second inning. But the Dodgers hitters are always going to make you work, and every time you give up a hit like that double to Betts, you have to reset. As here's the 1-2. Reaches out and pokes it out to right field for a base hit, and there's another hit for Pages. He extends his hit streak to 11. So a nice base hit there from Andy Pages, and we'll probably get to see Tommy Edman this inning. On that one, he just stuck it. It was outside of the zone. An outside pitch. He just stuck the end of the bat out and tapped it into right. It's just a good piece of hitting. Smart at-bat from Pages. and here comes Michael Conforto. First pitch. He goes down and gets a curveball high in the air to right field, but it looks like it's foul. Yep, 0-1. So Conforto just a little bit early on that one. Could have been a home run, had the distance, but just out in front. 1 on, 1 out, 0-1 count. Mason Wynn playing right behind the bag at shortstop. Gray throws over and checks on Pages. He's not going anywhere. Conforto with a 581 OPS. The WAR is negative so far this year at negative 0.4. He plays left field. Here's the 0-1 pitch from Gray. Swing and a miss on a fastball at the top of the zone. It's 0-2. Conforto seems like an investment for the Dodgers over the course of the year. If you can get him going, he's definitely worth that investment. But if he doesn't get going, eventually they should probably replace him because they have a really deep roster. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Ground ball. Diving, but it gets past Donovan. And it's going to move Pages to second. So I thought Pages would go first to third there, but the ball was hit just a little too hard for that. First and second with 1 out. And that'll bring up Tommy Edman. And I do want to hear if there's... Yeah. Cardinals fans are giving him that ovation. That's awesome. Edman definitely deserves it as much as anybody. He was incredible for the Cardinals. Ever since that 2019 NLCS appearance, he did everything he could to help the team win. It's great that he got traded to his hometown team and won the World Series with them. And he deserves every bit of this standing ovation. So Edman stepping up to the plate. Chance to do some damage for the Dodgers here. It would almost be fitting for him to homer, just like every Cardinal great does when they come back. But you got to root for your guy here. First pitch. Just inside with the cutter. 1-0. In 45 games this year, Edman has 9 home runs with a 748 OPS, 29 RBIs, and a 1.3 WAR. A lot of those home runs came right at the start of the year, as he drives one to center field, but it's catchable for Scott, and he makes the play. Pages does end up on third, so now runners at the corners with 2 outs, and that's going to bring up Dalton rushing. So that was a nice location there by Gray. Kept it just outside over the middle of the plate. So I guess outside of the middle of the plate so that the barrel could not get over there to it. Because if Edman barreled that, it might have been out of here. So runners at the corners with 2 outs in the second. And Pages wants to talk with Gray. So we reset here. 2 outs, runners at the corners. First pitch to Dalton rushing. Swing and a miss on a cutter low and in. It's 0-1. That was a little impatient by rushing. Maybe he thought that was going to be the sinker because that pitch started inside and it only went further in. 0-1. Cardinals definitely playing rushing to pole. Donovan way in that second base gap. Here's the 0-1 pitch. He goes down and crushes it deep right field. But Vlade makes the catch at the track and will go to the bottom of the second. Still scoreless. So that ball was really close to getting out of here. Luckily it's rainy today. The water was in the air. And that one didn't go out. Rushing only had 1 home run coming into that at-bat. And he still only has 1, luckily for the Cardinals. So next inning, it's going to be Herrera, Arenado, and Vlade. So I do want... Well, we already checked on what Vlade was up to. So I do want to see Herrera, just in case someone isn't keeping up. Ivan Herrera has been an incredible hitter for the Cardinals this year, mostly at DH because he's been injured, so hasn't had much of a chance to catch. But a 995 OPS, 12 batting run value in that short stint. These numbers are going to be in the 90th percentile in expected WOBA, expected batting average, expected slug. The rest, 60s, maybe 70 percentile. Bat speed is probably also about 90th. So, and then obviously, great walk rate, great strikeout rate. Defensively, he's not perfect, but you don't expect him to be as a catcher. He's mostly a hitter. Kind of what you expect to be getting out of Wilson Contreras almost, but now that you have Contreras at first, you can kind of get the best of both. And while we talk about that, we can pull up Wilson Contreras. He did hit last inning. Has a 0 batting run value, but in the 90s in the sweet spot percentage and bat speed, so over time, these numbers have built up. They were at the bottom of the chart in the first month of the year, and since then he's been absolutely crushing it. I do want to check out Dalton Rushing because I don't know anything about him. So let's quickly take a look. He was their number 1 prospect. -2 batting run value so far this year. Does barrel it a lot, so that's a really good sign. That's one of those stats that might grow over the course of his time with the Dodgers. Pretty good average exit velo. The expected stats are not there, but I wouldn't give up on him quite yet. This strikeout rate is awful, though. 51.6. Can't live with that forever, so we'll see if he can bring that down. He did hit the ball hard last time up. First pitch to Herrera is a strike. The game is back. So Wrobleski was able to find the zone there. Here's the 0-1. Missed upstairs. I'm going to try to get live. So quick pitches here. The 1-1. Popped up. Looks to be playable in right for Teoscar. And it is. So he makes the catch. 1 out in the second. And that's going to bring up Nolan Arenado. Arenado is hitting .228 with a .675 OPS, which is not what he normally likes to do, but he's getting up there in age, still playing great defense at third. First pitch, in there for a strike, fastball at the top of the zone, it's 0-1. Most RBIs against the Dodgers since 1985. He's 4th behind Goldschmidt, Helton, and Barry Bonds. So, really nice list to be on there. It is 1-1 after a slider missed a low. Arenado does still have 7 home runs on the year. Here's the 1-1. Ground ball foul, 1-2. Arenado did homer last night during that doubleheader. 1 into the Royals bullpen. Here's the 1-2 pitch from Wrobleski. Hard hit ball, that's going to be a base hit up the middle, so Arenado continues to torch the Dodgers in his career. He's made a career out of that. 1 man on with 1 out, and that's going to bring up Velade. So Ryan Velade getting an at-bat. Arenado's hit was just quick hands on a fastball at the top of the zone. Something he's very used to doing, and hopefully he can do more of that over the course of this year. 1 on and 1 out. Wrobleski at pitch number 22. First pitch to Velade. In there for a strike with a sinker, 0-1. So a sinker at the bottom of the zone. Right in there, attacking the young hitter. Wrobleski is ready again. Here's the 0-1. Up and in with the fastball at 92. Missed inside, 1-1. Chance to pass the baton here with Pedro Pajes on deck. If Velade can reach, that would put a runner in scoring position. So hopefully he can do that. Here's the 1-1. Just outside with the sinker, 2-1. Jordan Walker still on the IL, trying to make his way back. That's why we're seeing Velade tonight against the left-handed pitcher instead of Burleson. Here is the 2-1. Slider caught the top of the zone. It's 2-2. So Burleson is going to be available as a pinch hitter later in the game if a righty comes in. The 2-2 pitch, smoked foul down the right field line. Still 2-2. So if he can straighten that out, that could have been extra bases. Let's see what he can do here. Cardinals do have just the one hit from Arenado so far today. Donovan was also able to draw a walk. The 2-2 pitch. Upstairs, 3-2. So no matter what happens here, this was a nice at-bat from Vlade, making Wrobleski throw the maximum number of pitches. As Pajes gets ready on deck. Here's the 3-2 pitch. Swing and a miss on a perfectly placed fastball low and in. So there's 2 down now with Pedro Pajes at the plate and a man on first. Just couldn't catch up to that low and in fastball. Really nice pitch from Wrobleski. Pajes hitting .214 on the year. First pitch. Up and in, it is smoked high in the air to left field, and that ball is gone. Over the St. Louis bullpen, and it's 2-0 Cardinals in the second. Pedro Pajes with his 5th of the year, 22nd RBI, 422 feet, exit velo of 110. Absolutely crushed that one. And the Cardinals take an early lead. Just a poorly placed fastball up and in. Right after a great pitch against Vlade, he went right back to it, and that one missed. Great swing from Pajes. He caught up to that one, and it is 2-0. So here comes Victor Scott II with 2 outs and nobody on. He's going to try to reach with a bunt. It's over to third. Muncy does make the play, and we'll go to the 3rd inning. But not before a 2-run bomb from Pedro Pajes gives the Cardinals an early lead. So now we get to look at the fun pages. Shohei Ohtani, Freddie Freeman. They're both coming up next. Holy smokes. So Ohtani is first in baseball in batting run value, expected WOBA, expected slug, average exit velo, and hard hit rate, 99th percentile in barrel rate, 97th in bat speed. So smokes the ball, and then if that wasn't enough for you, the walk rate is at 13.7%. So he's been the best hitter in baseball, and he did it last year, and he did it the year before that. If we just go back to 2021, 99th percentile, 22, 94th, 23, 99th, 24, 99th, and 2025, 100th. So pretty much the best hitter in baseball, definitely over the whole span, but top 2 every single year. And it's exactly what you've come to expect from this MVP candidate every single year. Freddie Freeman, on the other hand, has kind of surged this year, doing even better than he had in recent seasons. 98th percentile with 21 batting run value, has a 1.047. It's right in line with what he did in 2023. He's actually the best hitter in baseball that year with 62 batting run value. And a great sweet spot rate as well. And that's obviously the launch angle. 2024 still had 25 with 91st percentile. So they're getting their money's worth with Freeman after that whole Braves Matt Olson situation. The Dodgers are thanking their lucky stars for that one, especially after the World Series. But here we go. Game is back. First pitch is a swing and a miss from Ohtani. It's 0-1. So Sonny Gray on pitch number 28. Ohtani 0 for 1 so far today with a ground out. The 0-1 pitch. Up and away, it's 1-1. The 1-1 pitch to Ohtani. Low and away with the changeup, fouled off, 1-2. Ohtani is a career 1 for 5 against Sonny Gray, but does have a home run. So that one hit was very meaningful. Probably a 2-run home run. Nobody on, nobody out in the third. 1-2 count to Shohei Ohtani. Gray is getting set. The 1-2 pitch. Up and in, smoked past a diving Donovan, and that's a base hit for Shohei Ohtani. So another hit for Ohtani. That one came out off the bat at 113 miles an hour. And 1 on with nobody out. Ohtani's a threat to steal, so I would watch out for that. Here comes Mookie Betts. Here's the first pitch. Low and away with the cutter, 1-0. Cardinals are playing Betts to pull. Donovan almost right behind second base. Win over. Into the gap. As the sinker catches the outside corner, it's 1-1. So Ohtani has stayed put at first so far. Cardinals hoping he doesn't attempt to steal, because when he does, he usually gets there. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Fouled back, 1-2. That was a fastball right across the middle of the plate, but at the top of the zone. And Mookie couldn't quite get his bat to that one, but he wants it back. You could see it on his face. Pitch number 35 from Gray, the 1-2 pitch to Betts. Pulled, and a base hit to left field. So 2 on now with nobody out. That's going to bring up Freddie Freeman, the best hitter on the Dodgers so far this year. So this is a scary potential for this inning. Two on with nobody out. Here's the first pitch to Freddie Freeman. Swing and a miss on a cutter up and in. It's 0-1. So Gray kind of having to work so far this inning after giving up these base runners. This is pitch 37 of the game. The 0-1 pitch to Freeman is low with the changeup, 1-1. Dodgers already have 5 hits. The Cardinals have 2 runs on 2 hits in 2 innings. Obviously, the Dodgers do have a little bit more sample, but here's the 1-1 from Gray. Fouled back, 1-2. So Freddie did strike out back in the first inning. Gray looking to try to repeat that with Teoscar Hernandez on deck. The 1-2 to Freeman. Swing and a miss on the sweeper low and in, and down goes Freddie once again. So Freeman strikes out for the second time tonight, and that'll bring up Teoscar Hernandez, still with 2 on and 1 out. Really nice sweeper there from Gray. He's working his stuff great against Freeman, but now he has to deal with Teoscar. Here's the first pitch. Up and in, check swing. Yes, he did. It's 0-1. So Hernandez behind in the count. Cardinals still playing him to pull. Really big hole on the right side. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Sweeper missed low and away. It's 1-1. Hernandez OPS at just .799 this year, which is Above league average, but not quite to his standard. Here's the 1-1. Right down the middle with the sinker. It's 1-2. So Hernandez took that one, which is uncharacteristic. Let's see if Gray can work off of that. Maybe go sweeper outside and try to draw a chase. The 1-2 pitch to Teoscar. They go low and in with the sinker just missed. It's 2-2. Teoscar's going to call time and consider his situation. Ohtani is on second. Mookie Betts is on first. 1 out in the third inning. The Cardinals lead 2-0 after a Pedro Pages home run. And we'll see what Teoscar Hernandez has for us here. The 2-2 pitch from Sonny Gray. Fouled back, and we'll do it again. That one did get fouled off of Pages' leg there, so taking a minute. Teoscar has grounded into 5 double plays out of 36 opportunities this year. Here's the 2-2 pitch to Teoscar. Swing and a miss on a sweeper low and away. And it's another strikeout for Gray. Back-to-back strikeouts, and that'll bring up Max Muncy. Did go to the sweeper outside, playing off of his earlier pitches, but just had that long break from the Pages foul ball, which allowed him to adjust. 2 on with 2 outs. Here's the first pitch to Muncy. Just missed inside with the curveball, 1-0. Muncy wearing his glasses. Cardinals are playing him to pull big time. Donovan in the gap. Here's the 1-0 pitch to Muncy. Up and in, hard hit ball to right field, but Velade is there, and the Cardinals get through 3 scoreless. So despite 5 hits for the Dodgers, they have not scored. 2-0 St. Louis as we head to the bottom of the third. So let's see who's due up. It's going to be Lars Nootbaar on the top of the Cardinal order. So let's grab Mason Wynn and Brendan Donovan, as we have not looked at them so far today. 767 OPS for Wynn, 72nd percentile in batting run value. Decent peripheral stats, hitting the ball, really good launch angle. Strikeout rate is still below league average, which is nice. Pretty good walk rate, and he plays a fantastic shortstop with 6 outs above average. So if you add all of that up, really, really nice player in Mason Wynn. And then Donovan, he put in a lot of work in the offseason in the barn. 7 batting run value. It was much higher, but a little bit of a down streak right now. Went to South Alabama, has an 833 OPS. Really nice expected stats. Some of the peripheral exit velocity, it's stuff that is genetic, you know. Some humans just can't swing the bat as hard, and he doesn't need to swing it super fast because he knows how to make the right type of contact. And that is really important. The walk rate is a little bit down at 7.8, but the strikeout rate is also down at 12.5%. So really good year for Donovan. Can't complain about anything he's doing. Playing about average at second base. But still, I mean, his hit total is insane. That's 72 hits so far. In 2023, he had 93 hits on 371 plate appearances. This year, I guess at-bats are better for the hit stat, but this year is a really nice average at 314 and playing amongst the leaders in hits. As Nootbaar takes strike one from Wrobleski on a slider. It's 0-1. Second pitch to Nootbaar is inside. He chops up the bat. Easy play for Edman at second. And down goes Nootbaar. So 1 out with nobody on. That'll bring up Mason Wynn. Wynn is 0 for 1 so far today, hitting .271 on the year. Wrobleski is on pitch number 33 of the game. First pitch to Wynn is just outside. It's 1-0. The 1-0 pitch is below the zone with the slider, 2-0. .20 pitch, down and in. He fouls it off of his foot, so Wynn might need a minute. He's pacing around. 2-1 count with 1 out. Cardinals do lead 2-0 with nobody on in the third. Donovan has already drawn a walk in this game. Mason Wynn has the second highest batting average for hitters batting second in baseball this year, while they're batting second. So Wynn, 305 average while he's been batting second. Here's the 2-1 pitch from Wrobleski. It is down and in with the slider, 3-1. So if Wynn can draw a walk here, you've already seen Donovan draw a walk. Also has a lot of hit potential. You could have 2 base runners. So let's see if the Cardinals can start a chain. The 3-1, swing and a miss on a fastball right down the middle. It is 3-2 on Wynn. Brendan Donovan on deck. The 3-2 pitch. Hard hit ball right up the middle. Base hit for Mason Wynn. Just the old school single there. They were playing him to pull a little bit, but basically just right up the middle. Hard hit ball, 104 miles an hour. That's what you hope to see from a hitter like Wynn, the guy who had a top 20 singles count last year. A lot of singles, bringing those back this year. Here's the first pitch to Donovan. We have a bunt fouled off against the catcher. So 0-1. Mason Wynn on first with 1 out in the third. Donovan was able to draw a walk after falling behind 0-2 last time up. Wrobleski is ready. His 40th pitch of the game, the 0-1 to Donovan. Caught the bottom of the zone. It's 0-2. That was a perfectly placed sinker, low and in. We'll see what Donovan can do now that he's behind in the count. The 0-2 pitch. Slider caught the top of the zone, but he fouled it back. Still 0-2. Donovan looking for his first hit of the game. Did walk earlier in this one. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Instead, Wrobleski's going to check on Wynn, who is not going anywhere. Donovan at 2.2 WAR on the year. 0-2 is inside, 1-2. So that was a changeup. Way inside on Donovan. Looked like Wrobleski was almost falling down as he threw that pitch. Ended up on his knees. Here's the 1-2. Low and away slider, fouled off by Donovan. And we'll have to do it again. This is what Donovan does really, really well. Extends his at-bats. Does not let himself strike out. I believe he's 92nd percentile in that stat. The 1-2 pitch from Wrobleski. He is right down the middle for strike 3, and down goes Donovan. So, can't ever jinx a hitter like that. Shouldn't have said he never strikes out, because there's a strikeout. And that'll bring up Willson Contreras with 1 man on, and 2 out in the 3rd. Contreras hitting .249 this year. He is 0 for 1 on the day. Kind of the same situation as his last at-bat. 1 man on, 2 outs. This time Wrobleski missed with the first pitch. It's 1-0. Second pitch to Contreras. He is in there for a strike, and Mason Wynn swipes second base. So we got to see Tommy Edman trying to apply the tag, but Wynn was in there safely. So it's 1-1 on Contreras, now with a runner in scoring position. Really nice jump from Wynn. Nothing that the catcher could have done about that. Even on the lefty Wrobleski, Wynn was able to get a great jump. So Wynn on second, 2 outs in the 3rd. The 1-1 pitch to Willson Contreras. Inside, pulled foul. It's 1-2. Dodgers are playing Contreras to pull here. The 1-2. He goes down and chases a changeup. Really bad swing from Contreras. And that'll end the 3rd, so it's still 2-0 St. Louis as we go to the 4th. Let's see, due up are Andy Pages, Michael Conforto, and Tommy Edman. So I do want to see Edman's page. 62nd percentile with 4 batting run value. Did have 5 outs above average so far on the year. A 748 OPS, so kind of where he has been. He's been a little bit better on the OPS, but that's because it's a little bit skewed in favor of power, and he's been more of a power hitter so far this year. If you look at what he's done in the past, really good base running and fielding when he was on the Cardinals. Basically every single year. Also did not strike out. So he was a good hitter in 2019, and after that, usually negative in the batting run value, but really good everywhere else. And that was able to rack up a lot of WAR for him. And in 2024, he was a positive hitter after getting traded to the Dodgers. And he's been even better so far this year. When a guy doesn't strike out and plays great defense, I mean, that's a lot of value already. And then you run the bases like Edman does, that's even more. So it definitely makes sense to me. Conforto, yeah, hasn't been great. That is what it is. We got to see Andy Pages earlier, so we can just leave it on this. Oh, whoops. Did I not show Edman? Let me just show Edman, just in case I screwed that up. All right, the game is back, so let's make our way back. All right, Andy Pages at the plate. First pitch from Gray. Swing and a miss on a sinker inside. It's 0-1. So Gray is at 48 pitches. This will be pitch number 49. Pages is 1 for 1 with a single so far today. Pages calls time. All right, he is back in the box. Here's the 0-1 from Gray. Way outside with the cutter, 1-1. So if you've thrown 50 pitches through 3 innings, then usually you can get through 6. So hopefully Gray can do that. Here's the 1-1 to Pages. Up and in, popped up. Easy play in right field for Vlade, and he will make the grab. Ended up being a tough play because the communication was a little bit strained there, but Vlade was able to get over to it. 1 out, nobody on, and that's going to bring up Michael Conforto. Conforto is 1 for 1 today. First pitch. Fouled off his foot. 0-1. A lot of fouls off the foot tonight. Maybe it's because it's a late night game now after the rain delay. Maybe the lights are messing with some vision, but hitters seem to be hitting perfectly fine. Outside of Freddie Freeman. Here's the 0-1 pitch to Conforto. Outside, ground ball, easy play at second for Donovan. He'll make the play. 2 outs now with nobody on. And that'll bring up Tommy Edman once again. So anyone who didn't stand last time, maybe getting a little bit of a chance to cheer him on here. But just going to be clapping for Edman this time. I don't think we need another standing ovation. He gets the picture. Maybe he'll get another standing O in his next time up. He's calling time, so clearly he was getting some more crowd action. Had to give it a moment. A little bit emotional. Here's the pitch to Edman. Hung a curveball right down the middle for a strike. That Gray pitch almost seemed like, here, hit a home run, see if you can get a reaction, but, you know, Edman did not jump on it, so it's 0-1. Now Gray will probably attack him. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Missed upstairs with the fastball, 1-1. Edman is a guy who can hit a lot of home runs when he gets hot. And last year, he was able to get hot right when the Dodgers needed him to. And at the start of this year, he did it again. Here's the 1-1. Caught the bottom of the zone with the changeup, but did not get the call. That's a tough call for the ump. It's 2-1. When you see a player like Edman return, you almost want him to do something good, but at the same time, got to root for your team to win. Here's the 2-1 pitch to Edman. Fouled back off of the umpire. That one didn't look too comfortable, but hopefully he's wearing the correct equipment to be okay. It's 2-2. All right, the umpire's ready. So is Edman. 2-2 pitch from Gray. Chopper. Tough play at short. Wynn makes it and gets him by a step. Great play by Mason Wynn. And we go to the bottom of the fourth. 2-0 St. Louis. So it'll be Ivan Herrera, Nolan Arenado, and Ryan Vlade. So we can take a look at Arenado. Obviously, great defense, but the hitting just hasn't quite been what it has been in recent years. You go back to 2022, he was an MVP candidate, 96th percentile with 34 batting run value. 23, it fell off a lot, but still a positive producer, 774 OPS with 8 batting run value. Last year, a 719 OPS, which was still positive, and a really nice 14.5% strikeout rate. This year, the strikeout rate is still pretty low at 11.5%, which is even better, 95th percentile, but walk rate at 8.2%. The hitting, like all of the peripheral hitting numbers for contact quality, are not good for Arenado this year. Does have a nice squared up rate, but the launch angle is not great. And the batting run value is at -4, so hopefully he can get it together. Outs above average at 2. That's also way below what you expect from him. Last year, he was at 10 on the year with 95th percentile. So hopefully this can continue to climb and he can get back on track. Herrera and Vlade. We were able to take a look at them earlier. Didn't get a look at Pedro Pages or Victor Scott. I'm going to pull up Victor Scott because Pages' numbers are going to be better after today. And Victor Scott II is the fastest player in baseball. See this? This is the 100th percentile in sprint speed. Also really, really good in the field with 8 outs above average. That's 99th percentile. That's where a lot of his value comes from. So it'll be cool to see those hitters in the inning. Ideally, we get all the way down to Scott, but that was only what we did last time. So let's take a look. Ivan Herrera stepping up to the plate. Herrera versus Wrobleski. The first pitch. A little bit low, but fouled back. 0-1. Second pitch, a changeup way outside. 1-1 on Ivan Herrera. Herrera with a 986 OPS on the year. The 1-1 pitch. Right down the middle, pulled foul, 1-2. There is an auction going on for Marmal's package. 4 of Marmal's personal tickets to a Cardinals game and a lineup card meeting. That would be pretty cool. 2-2 on Herrera. Missed downstairs with the slider. 2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss on a slider at the bottom of the zone. Herrera ran it out, but they put him out at first. 1 down, another strikeout for Wrobleski. It's going to put him at 4 on the day, sorry. As Sonny Gray only has 3. That's going to bring up Nolan Arenado as he crushes one to left field for another base hit. So Arenado is 2 for 2 today. Herrera is 0 for 2. That's going to bring up Vlade. Last time up, he struck out prior to the Pedro Pages 2-run homer. So 1 on with 1 out. Let's see what Vlade can do this time. The first pitch. Curveball at the top of the zone. Doesn't get the call. It's 1-0. So a little bit lucky for Vlade there. The 1-0 pitch. Inside. Ground ball to short. Betts flips it to Edman. They turn 2 and get him. So a ground ball double play by Vlade will end the inning. And we go to the 5th, still 2-0 St. Louis. It's going to bring up Dalton Rushing, the catcher for the Dodgers. Usually by the point in the game that I've already gone through all the hitters, we're already in the bullpen, but this game has been moving a little slow, and I did all the lineups early because of the rain delay, so let's take a look at Mookie Betts. How's he doing this year? Squares the ball up as much as anybody. He is first in baseball with a 42.3% squared up rate. So obviously that's fantastic, but if we go back 2023, he was incredible. 61 batting run value. That's right behind Freddie Freeman for the best in baseball. Had some of the best numbers across the board. You really can't find a stat to be disappointed in outside of his fielding, which was at -4. But really low strikeout rate, really high walk rate. Obviously, bat speed doesn't matter if you're crushing the ball every time you swing. 2024, pretty good stuff. I mean, still really low strikeout rate, really high walk rate. He actually walked more than he struck out and hit the ball really hard. But the average exit velo was a little bit down. Barrel rate was down. And that took him down to an 863 OPS, and this year he's at a 762. So maybe he's human at 32 years old. 69th percentile this year. Still squares it up, still doesn't strike out, still walks more than he strikes out. So when you have something like that going on, you're still going to be a great player, and that's what he is. But to take it to that next level, got to barrel it up a little bit more often. All right. So here comes Dalton rushing. First pitch of the 5th inning. Caught the outside corner. That's strike 1 with a changeup. 0-1. Rushing hitting .226 this year. Does strike out over 50% of the time. So if he can cut those down, he'd be a great hitter. The 0-1 pitch. Missed upstairs. 1-1. Here's the 60th pitch of the day for Sonny Gray, the 1-1 pitch to rushing. Missed upstairs again with the cutter, that's 2-1. Rushing has 0.1 WAR on the year, so must be a good fielder. Or maybe he timed that home run up really well. Here's the 2-1 pitch. Just caught the top of the zone with the cutter, it's 2-2. Shohei Ohtani is on deck. Cardinals playing rushing to Pole. Arenado way off the third base line now that there's 2 strikes. No real bunt opportunity. So they can expect some contact. Sonny Gray is ready. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Missed way low and in. It's 3-2. Ohtani is 1 for 2 so far in the game and is waiting on deck. The full count pitch from Gray to rushing. Right down the middle for strike 3, and that strikeout rate continues to climb. Out number 1 is recorded. Here comes Shohei. Chopper over to short, Mason Wynn, and down goes Ohtani. Great play made by Wynn. Another charging hard throw to first, and he makes the play. 2 down, and that'll bring up Mookie Betts. So the first pitch put into play by Ohtani, and Wynn did not waste the opportunity. 2 down, Mookie Betts is 2 for 2 today. So you're lucky to see him with 2 outs and nobody on. The Dodgers have 5 hits in the game, no runs scored. Cardinals have 2 runs on 4 hits. First pitch to Betts. Catches the upper outside corner for a strike. It's 0-1. Betts has a single and a double today, so if you're on cycle watch, you're looking for a triple or a homer. If you're a Cardinals fan, you're looking for an out. Still haven't recorded one of those. Here's the 0-1. Missed low and in with the sinker, 2-1. Sorry, 1-1. They updated the board really quickly there, so caught me a little off guard. Here's the 1-1 pitch to Betts. That one caught the zone, it's 1-2. Betts has 8 home runs on the year. Still squares it up as well as anybody. The 1-2. Missed way low with the sinker. 2-2. Cardinals are playing him to Pole. Sonny Gray's 69th pitch of the day. The 2-2. Right down the middle, fouled back, so Gray will reach 70 here in the 5th inning. This will probably be his last time facing the top of the order. And that makes sense. You don't want to see him a bunch of times. Seeing these guys 3 times is hard enough. These are really, really good hitters. Here's the 2-2 to Betts. Outside slider popped up. Brendan Donovan makes the call. And he makes the catch. So we go to the bottom of the fifth. Still 2-0 St. Louis. 70 pitches, 5 scoreless innings so far by Gray. Fantastic job so far. It'll be Pedro Pajes who homered his last time up, then Victor Scott and Lars Nootbaar. So finally, let's go ahead and grab Pedro Pajes' stats. Obviously, they're going to be better after this game because he had a really big home run. Looking at 643 so far this year in the OPS, -6 batting run value. So it's going to come up. Obviously, all of these numbers go up after a home run. And he's a really good defensive catcher. That's where a lot of that value comes in. They have him at 3 fielding run value. The blocks above average is at 2. The caught stealing above average at 2. Good pop time. That's why you have a guy like Pajes. And the defensive catcher is really an undervalued thing as a whole. Cardinals fans know it as much as anybody with Yadi Molina. If Pajes can come to the plate every day and sit behind it and call a great game for each pitcher, there's a reason Sonny Gray requests Pedro Pajes each time he pitches. He's a good defensive catcher, so that makes a really big difference. Brings all of the pitching earned runs allowed down so that your offense can put up 5 runs and actually win the game. So that's something doesn't get talked about enough. Although I guess baseball circles do have that discussion a lot. Defensive catcher value. Definitely something to look at. So then you have Victor Scott, Lars Nootbaar. I think I've looked at everybody on the Savant. We can look at splits. Maybe Pajes against lefties, but well, why not? We have time. Maybe just a little bit of time. Make sure we're live. Okay, so we don't quite have time to check on that, but there's Pajes' baseball reference. First pitch is fouled back. It's 0-1. That was a sinker on the outside part of the plate. Nobody on, nobody out. Timeout by Pajes. This United St. Louis auction is actually really, really cool. A lot of cool stuff. You should probably check it out online. It ends in about 15 minutes. There's also a QR code on the broadcast if you can watch the game. Here's the 1-1. Outside 2-1 with the changeup. Pedro Pajes obviously 1-for-1 with a 2-run home run his last time up. 60th pitch of the game for Wrobleski. He is inside with the sinker, 3-1. So Wrobleski maybe a little bit scared of Pajes. The 3-1 is low and in, and that's ball 4. So Pedro Pajes, after a home run, is able to draw a walk. That'll bring up Victor Scott with 1 on and nobody out in the 6th. Sorry, in the bottom of the 5th. Victor Scott hitting .243 so far this year, a .651 OPS. Up and in, it's going to hit him. And he laid down a bunt off of his head. I thought it was a foul ball, but I guess that was a fair ball on a bunt. Well, he's protecting his body, and he sacrifices, and that moves Pajes to second. So let's see what happened here. The pitch is tailing inside and was about to hit him, but instead hit the inside part of the bat, which is not quite the handle, but not quite the barrel. And Scott had to fall out of the way, so it's just a sacrifice bunt. So Pedro Pajes on second base. Nootbaar at the plate. He takes ball 1 outside. 1 out in the 5th. The 1-0 pitch. Above the zone, 2-0. So Nootbaar has an RBI chance now. After a really strange sacrifice bunt, which was probably not supposed to be a sacrifice by Scott. The 2-0 pitch. Up and in, accidentally check swing foul ball. And it's 2-1. Nootbaar is 0 for 2 with a couple of ground outs in this one. Let's hope he can get the ball in the air this time. Or draw a walk. He's ahead in the count. 2-1 pitch from Wrobleski. Way up and in with the slider. 3-1. Couple of scary pitches there. Mason Wynn is on deck. Nootbaar at the plate with a 3-1 count, and Pedro Pages on second. 3-1 pitch. Up and in again with the fastball. Scared Nootbaar and walked him, and that'll put 2 on with 1 out for Mason Wynn. So Wrobleski's starting to struggle with his command a little bit as the pitch count gets higher. Nootbaar had a couple of words for him, telling him to figure it out. And that'll bring up Mason Wynn. So Nootbaar on first, Pages on second. And a little infield discussion by the Dodgers. It is lefty-righty here, so they're definitely going to have Wrobleski face at least Wynn and Donovan, unless he really lost his command. He's at 67 pitches, so he might stay in the game even longer. Let's see what they do. 2 on, 1 out, first pitch to Wynn. Just up and away, 1-0. Mason Wynn is 1 for 2 with a single back in the third. Also stole a base as Wrobleski misses up and away again. It's 2-0. So he's struggling to pull the ball down, releasing it maybe early. It's either that or his angles are a little bit messed up. Here's the 2-0 to Wynn. Swing and a miss on a fastball right down the middle. 2-1. Was able to locate the ball that time, but maybe a little bit too well, as that one was right down the middle. It's not where you want to put it. Wynn looking to adjust, but he is ahead in the count, so fighting some pitches off is another good strategy, especially with 2 men on. 2-1 pitch to Wynn. Fouled back, 2-2. That was just a fastball right at the top of the zone. Nootbaar on first, Pages on second, 1 out in the 5th. Cardinals have a 2-run lead. The 2-2 pitch is in the dirt. It's 3-2 on Mason Wynn. Dodgers pitcher Justin Wrobleski on the mound. He just walked Donovan and missed inside on Scott in the at-bat before that. The 3-2 to Wynn. Low and in, pulled foul, still 3-2. That one was way outside the zone, but Wynn was able to get the bat to it. Could have been ball 4. Really good hands by Wynn there to stay alive. And here's another 3-2 pitch to Wynn. Chopper over to third base. Muncy picks it up and makes the play to first. That advances both runners to second and third with 2 away. So that's going to bring up Brendan Donovan, who is 0 for 1 with a walk today. Also has a strikeout. Runners on second and third with 2 outs for Donovan. First pitch from Wrobleski is low and away with the sinker, 1-0. So now Wrobleski might have pulled it down a little bit too far. We'll see if he can find a consistent command against Donovan. If not, Donovan will probably punish him for it. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Up and in, 2-0. You wonder if anyone's getting loose in the bullpen. It doesn't look like it, which is a little bit surprising. Here's the 2-0 pitch to Donovan. Outside, 3-0. So the command starting to go for Wrobleski. And nobody's getting ready to face Contreras if this walk occurs, which I'm suspecting it will. Here's the 3-0. In there for a strike, 3-1. If you're Dave Roberts, someone's got to be stretching right now. Like, they have to be stretching. You got to be getting a guy ready to face Contreras. Here's the 3-1. Donovan smokes it to center field. That's going to be a base hit right in front of Pages. 1 run scores. They'll bring around Nootbaar, and he is safe. So a 2-run base hit, and Donovan advances to second. Cardinals lead 4-0. Great piece of hitting by Donovan. Stayed right on that one and squared it up. And you don't need to walk if you can hit. Right down the middle, pulled it to center field. Nootbaar came flying in. It was a great throw from center field from Pages, but Nootbaar came in and pushed Will Smith out of the way and was able to score the run. So 4-0. Oh, sorry, that's not Will Smith. My bad, he's taking the day off. It's Rushing, Dalton Rushing. He was out of the way. 4-0 St. Louis with Donovan on second. Interesting seeing Donovan talk to Edman. Couple of former teammates, second base and shortstop. And that'll bring up Wilson Contreras. So Wrobleski will face him. Dave Roberts has chosen this path. Let's see how he feels about it after the fact. Here's the first pitch. Found the lower inside corner with the slider. It's 0-1. I figure your guy's already had 80 pitches at this point. It's the 5th inning, but I guess Roberts wanted to save the bullpen. Here's the 0-1. Low and away, hard hit ball deep to right field, but Teoscar is going to be able to make the catch at the track. And we'll go to the 6th. The Cardinals lead 4-0 after a huge single for Brendan Donovan. And we'll go to the 6th inning. So, all right, 4-0 lead. Now maybe we can take a look at some splits. I think maybe some Freddie Freeman splits would be fun. Maybe night game splits, because I'm actually curious about that. Because it seems like he's doing poorly. Like, can we... I guess we might need fan graphs for that. But I will grab some career Freddie Freeman splits. Just start. Can we have a game start time? Is that something that we have? Game conditions. Night game, day game. So here we go. In night games, 894 OPS. Day games, 923. So, I mean, it's not too big of a difference. But in St. Louis, he usually does really well. A 1.166. But I want to see the St. Louis splits at night, because right now he's not seeing the ball well. Or maybe a start time after 9:30, something like that. But the thing is, he's on the Dodgers, so they kind of start games at about right now on usual, like for home games usually. So none of that logic holds up. He's just not seeing the ball well tonight specifically. Now maybe let's just look at the righty-lefty splits while we're here. Here we go. He's way better against right-handed pitching. I mean, no surprise. Freddie Freeman, 947 OPS against righties, 803 against lefties. All right, the game is back. And here's Freddie Freeman. First pitch from Sonny Gray. Inside with the fastball, it's 1-0. Second pitch to Freddie. Right down the middle, chopped over to short. Mason Wynn is there, and he's 0 for 3. So, first time he didn't strike out in this one. Maybe saw the ball a little bit better that time, but same result. Another out. And now Sonny Gray is going to get to face Teoscar Hernandez. Gray is at 72 pitches. This will be pitch number 73. Looking to go 6 or 7 innings for the Cardinals. Probably 7 now that he's settled in. First pitch to Teoscar. Caught the lower outside corner. It's 0-1. Great pitch from Gray that time. 1 out with nobody on. Teoscar at the plate. Here's the 0-1. Hard hit ball way up the middle for a base hit. Victor Scott's going to take a long angle to try to cut that off. Teoscar's going to try to go for 2. And he's in there with a double. So a really nice decision by Teoscar to be aggressive. Close play at second, but Victor Scott was just unable to get it in time. And now there's a runner on second for Max Muncy. So the starting position for Victor Scott there was maybe just a little too far in right field, as Teoscar's hit traveled deep into left for a double. First pitch to Muncy is in the dirt, 1-0. That one was just a curve ball. Muncy is 0 for 2, has not struck out yet today. Has a ground out and a fly out. Here's the 1-0 pitch from Sonny Gray with Teoscar on second. Missed low with the sinker, it's 2-0. So maybe I shouldn't speak too soon. Maybe that pitch count will climb a little bit faster than I expected. But ideally, Gray can get through that 7th inning as well. First, he has to get Muncy. Here's the 2-0 pitch. Top of the zone, he pops it up, so he sacrifices a 2-0 count and hits a fly ball to Nootbaar, who makes the grab. 2 outs with Teoscar on second. That's going to bring up Andy Pages. Pages is 1 for 2 today, did have a single his first time up. Still on a hit streak. He extended it today. It's an 11-game hit streak for Pages. Looking to get an RBI here. Pitch 78 for Gray. The first pitch to Pages. He's in there for a strike. Another 92-mile-an-hour sinker. 0-1. Gray really has some of his best command in this one. Here's the 0-1 pitch to Pages. Inside with the sinker, 1-1. You wonder if Marmol will ask him to go out there for the 7th. If he can get this out, I think he might. But you definitely don't want to see him face Ohtani again. Here's the 1-1 pitch to Pages. Check swing, yes he did. 1-2. That was a slider in the dirt. There's 1 minute remaining in this auction, so I am a little excited to see the type of money they raised here to help support the efforts for the tornado recovery. I don't know if they'll show it on the broadcast. Here's the 1-2 pitch to Pages. Chopped over to third. Arenado on the run. Makes a throw, but is unable to get him. So an infield hit for Pages. Really good hustle there. That'll put runners at the corners with 2 outs for Michael Conforto. And that also probably means Sonny Gray will be done after this inning, as it'll be 2 lefties to start the next inning in Edman and Rushing. I guess Edman's a switch hitter, so either way. But Rushing's a lefty and Ohtani's a lefty, so you could go to a lefty for next inning. I think that would make sense. So that means Gray's day is probably over after Conforto. First pitch to Michael Conforto with the runners at the corners and 2 outs. Swing and a miss on a changeup down and away, 0-1. Conforto did have a single back in the 2nd inning. He's 1 for 2. Yet to strike out in this one. Hitting just 170 on the year. Here's the 0-1 pitch from Gray. Just a bit upstairs with the fastball, 1-1. The 1-1 pitch. Inside out swing, popped up. Arenado on the run and makes a sliding catch. So a great play by Arenado will end the Dodger half of the sixth. We go to the bottom half. 4-0 St. Louis, and that might be it for Sonny Gray. Fantastic outing for Gray if it is. He brought his ERA for the season down to 3.38 with 6 scoreless against the Dodgers. All right, so who's due up? It'll be Pages, Scott. Is it Pages, Scott, Nootbaar? Let's see. No, that doesn't make sense. It's Herrera, right? I think it's Herrera. Yeah. Yep. Herrera, Arenado, and Velade. So, yep. My app just was glitching out. Let's see. Okay, so we were looking at some Freddie splits. Think the starter's going to be done for the Dodgers, so let's go to the bullpen. Take a look at who they have. So it's going to be Tanner Scott in the closer. Anthony Banda. Okay, so Herrera, Arenado, Velade, that's going to be 2 righties, and then another righty, but you can pinch hit Burles in there, so they have to think about that. But it's still going to be 2 righties, so I think they're going to go to a righty. Lou Trevino, Chris Stratton, or Jose Urania. Stratton used to be on the Cardinals, so they probably won't go to him. They are down by 4 runs, so Urania would make a lot of sense. Maybe Trevino. I don't think they go to anyone on the upper half of this page in a game where you're down by 4. They might just stick with Wrobleski if they think he can keep going. Not something I'd recommend, but depends what the reasoning is here. If they're just trying to get through innings, then you just stick with Wrobleski, but I think they'll go to the long reliever. But they stick with Wrobleski, so who am I? Here we go. They are just going for innings. Here's the first pitch to Herrera. It's low and in, 1-0. So obviously Dave Roberts trying to be smart, save some bullpen innings for later in the series. Kind of sacrificing some of the value in this one maybe. But you're down by 4. Somewhat logical. It is 1-1 on Herrera. Herrera is 0 for 2 with a flyout and a strikeout in this one. Sorry, yeah. Flyout and a strikeout. And he's hitting 327 on the year. The 1-1. Just upstairs with the sinker. It's 2-1. Pitch 85 from Wrobleski to Herrera. Pulled foul. It's 2-2. Herrera has 6 home runs in a limited sample this year. 1.4 WAR with a 977 OPS. The 2-2 pitch. Ground ball, shortstop. Mookie is there. 1 out. So Wrobleski showing the potential to get through this inning. See how he does against Arenado, who is 2 for 2. Arenado scored a run on that Pedro Pages 2-run blast from earlier today. First pitch. Just upstairs with the slider. It's 1-0. Just seems like Wrobleski's not finding the zone quite enough, but still making it through somehow. As he throws a slider right down the middle. 1-1. The 1-1 pitch to Arenado is up and away, 2-1. The Dodgers defense playing Arenado to pull. That's no surprise. That's what he does. 2-1 pitch. Pulled, foul. 2-2. That was a slider right down the middle. I think Arenado probably wants it back. He definitely could have had extra bases on that, but he was just out in front of it. 2-2 pitch from Wrobleski. Up and away with the changeup, 3-2. So it seems like every other pitch, Wrobleski's like losing the command, releasing it early. But then he'll be able to bend one in there with the slider. So Arenado's got to be looking slider here. The 3-2 pitch to Arenado is the slider. He pulls it foul. So Arenado just staying alive. Trying to make Wrobleski keep throwing strikes because he hasn't shown too much of an ability to do that. Arenado's also been hitting him well. He's 2 for 2. 3-2 pitch. Fastball right down the middle. Jam shot to right field, but that's another base hit for Arenado. And he has a 3 for 3 day. So great game for Arenado. He is on first, and Wrobleski's all the way up at 93 pitches. Roberts trying to make him work through another inning. I don't know if he'll finish this one. So here comes Vlade with 1 man on and 1 out for the 3rd time in the game. He is 0 for 2 with a strikeout. First pitch is outside, pulled foul, 0-1. Arenado on first, the 0-1 pitch. Right down the middle, popped up, out of play, it's 0-2. A lot of souvenirs for some lucky fans today. Wrobleski's at pitch number 96 on this one, so I think his day is going to be over. The 0-2 to Vlade. Hit the other way, foul once again, still 0-2. Pedro Pajes is on deck. Did have a home run earlier in the game. He's 1 for 1 with a walk. The 0-2 pitch. Hit the other way, foul once again. So Vlade trying to straighten this out. Getting a lot of chances to see pitches from Wrobleski in this one. All of them with Arenado on first base. It's crazy. Cardinals have had 1 through 4 hit, and then Herrera go down, Arenado single every single time, and there's another strikeout by Vlade. So now for the 3rd time in the game, we're going to have Pedro Pajes bat with Arenado on first. So the exact same thing every single time. You have Nootbaar, Winn, Donovan Contreras, and then the next inning you have Herrera go down, Arenado get a hit, Vlade go down. And here comes Pajes. So he fouls one back. It's 0-1. Wrobleski's going to try to finish the 6th inning. Dodgers trying to make full use of their innings eater in Justin Wrobleski. And he's done a really good job. The 0-1 pitch. Missed up and away. It's 1-1. Pajes has reached base both times. Looking to continue that streak. Did have a home run earlier in the game. The 1-1 pitch to Pajes. Fouled back, 1-2. So 1 more strike would get Wrobleski out of the game. Let's see if he can get it. Try to get Pedro Pajes for the first time today. The 1-2 pitch to Pajes. Wrobleski is set. Here's the pitch. Outside, 2-2. This point, it's borrowed time for Wrobleski. You never see a guy go over 100 pitches, but he's about to throw his 103rd pitch of the game. The 2-2 to Pedro Pajes. He is low and in. It's 3-2. So Arenado's going to get a head start, after his 3-for-3 day. Arenado's already scored a run, looking to score another. Extra bases would get him there with the head start. Let's see if Pages can deliver. The 3-2 pitch from Wrobleski. Popped up. Easy play at first for Freeman. And he'll make the grab. So we go to the 7th, 4-0 St. Louis. And Wrobleski was able to get through 6. So it looks like it's going to be Edman, Rushing, and Ohtani. I think Sonny Gray's day is over, but Marmol might leave him out there. Usually he just goes to 100. So that would mean you leave him out there, but I probably would not do that. Gray got through 6 scoreless. You have Edman, Rushing, Ohtani. It's going to be a switch hitter, a lefty, and another lefty. So it would make sense to me to get a decent lefty into the game. That would be Steven Matz. Protect a 4-run lead. Matz is the perfect guy for that. I don't believe he pitched yesterday. So I think that's just a perfect decision here. You just go to Matz, and then you have your big 3, Leahy, Maton, Helsley, available for the 8th and the 9th. But if he wants to see Gray face Edman and Rushing, I don't think I'd be mad about that. He's gotten Rushing both times, was able to strike him out, and also was able to get Edman both times, so I don't see an issue with that as a possible choice. What I will do is grab Steven Matz's stats over here just in case. So Matz, 1.04 whip. He's in the 86th percentile with 7 pitching run value. Best walk rate in baseball with just a 2.1% walk rate. That's awesome. So you got to beat him by putting the ball in play. Let's see if the Dodgers can do that or if they're going to face Sonny Gray. It'll be Yamamoto against Fedde tomorrow. Looks like Sonny Gray's back out there, so while I don't agree with it, I guess I could see why you'd want him to face these next 2 hitters. He's gotten them the last couple of times. I don't know if I'd want Gray facing Ohtani, but maybe you go to JoJo with 2 outs to face Ohtani. Who knows? Here's the 0-1. Low and in with the curveball, 1-1. So nobody on, nobody out. 1-1 pitch to Tommy Edman. Ground ball through the hole for a base hit, and Edman does get a hit in his return. Victor Scott had to field that one. 1 on with nobody out. Wilson Contreras giving a little hug to Edman. Obviously got to know him over a couple of seasons. 1 on with nobody out. And that's going to bring up Dalton Rushing, which will probably be the last hitter that Sonny Gray faces. Although Marmol might just be leaving out here for all 7 innings. Here's the pitch. Curveball right down the middle for a strike. It's 0-1. We'll see here if Edman wants to try to steal a base. He's a guy who can do it, but hasn't done it a whole lot. The 0-1 pitch to Rushing. Swing and a miss on a changeup, low and in. It's 0-2. Rushing is a guy who strikes out just above 50% of the time. And does have a strikeout in 2 at-bats today, so he's keeping that rate up. Let's see if Gray can keep it above 50% and get him with this 0-2 pitch. The 90th pitch of the day for Sonny Gray, the 0-2. Swing and a miss on a sweeper low and in, and there's another strikeout. So 2 strikeouts and 3 at-bats for Rushing. And we have 1 on with 1 out for Shohei Ohtani. So is Sonny Gray done? If so, he's going to be responsible for Tommy Edman at first base. But so far, It's 6 1/3 with 0 earned runs. A great start for Gray in 90 pitches. And I bet that's going to do it. So let's see what Marmol's going to do. He is done. So a really nice start for Gray. Just facing these 2 hitters. I completely understand that. I probably would have just gone straight to Mets, but he was able to get rushing, so no harm, no foul there. Now you have Ohtani, Betts, Freeman, which is lefty, righty, lefty. So, I mean, you could still definitely go to... I would probably still go to Mats for that. I would have probably had Mats just go Edman rushing, Ohtani, Betts, Freeman. Because you definitely want a lefty against Freeman. We saw that earlier. Looks like Marmol's going to choose JoJo Romero here. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Didn't Romero pitch yesterday? He also hasn't been as good. But okay, let's check out JoJo. 2 pitching run value, 59th percentile, so a little bit above average. Doesn't allow a very good expected batting average. Does get a lot of ground balls, so maybe he's looking for a double play. I could see that. But the 1.4 whip is discouraging enough to me, along with the 14.5% walk rate, that I would have stayed away from him here, because walks produce rallies, and you can't allow a rally when you're up by 4 runs. But this might save Steven Matz for a closer game, so ideally Romero can get out of this, and we don't have to worry about any of that. But I'm just saying I probably would have gone Matz, because any win against the Dodgers is something you can use your best pitchers for. You don't want to give them any entry back into the game. Either way, here we go. JoJo Romero, 3.26 ERA. First pitch to Ohtani. Way upstairs, 1-0. Ohtani just did a really weird motion. I'm not sure he saw that ball very well. The 1-0 grounded to second base. It is the ground ball, and it is a double play. Mason wins arm at shortstop. Fires to get Ohtani, and we go to the bottom of the 7th, 4-0. And that closes the book on a scoreless start for Sonny Gray. So that's awesome. Fantastic job. One ground out by Romero in a couple of pitches. Great job. Great double play. And now it will be the bullpen for the Dodgers. So Victor Scott, Lars Nootbaar, Mason Wynn, and then Brendan Donovan. That's going to be 3 out of 4 hitters are going to be lefties. Definitely a lefty opportunity for the Dodgers. We go to the bullpens. Who could that be? Probably Banda. They're either going to go to Urania or Banda. And if they go Urania, they're just trying to get out of the game. They're going to have him go the rest of the game, probably. It is the 7th, though, so you might as well just go to a guy like Banda. I'm not sure who pitched yesterday. I was watching other teams, but let's just grab Banda's stats just in case. Maybe he's been good and they wouldn't go to him here. He's been decent. 2 pitching run value, that's not bad. Pretty bad walk rate, though, so with a 4.23 ERA as a Dodger, 1.3 whip, 21 strikeouts in 27 innings. It's not great. Definitely a guy you could use here. I think that would make sense. But he's also probably a lefty-lefty specialist, so... Well, actually, that's good here. You go face Scott, Nootbaar, Wynn, Donovan. I think Banda would make a lot of sense. And it is going to be Banda, so Dave Roberts and I are in agreement on that one. So Roberts doing a pretty good job with that decision, in my opinion. He's a guy who can go lefty-lefty, eat this inning and maybe next inning. depending how quickly he gets through this one. And save the rest of that bullpen. So it's going to be lefty-lefty, Victor Scott versus Anthony Banda in the bottom of the 7th. Here's the first pitch. In there, ground ball to second, Tommy Edman, 1 out. So 1 pitch, 1 out for Banda, and that'll bring up Lars Nootbaar. Nootbaar was able to score a run after drawing a walk. His last time up, he was 0 for 2 with a couple of groundouts before that. First pitch is inside 1-0. The 1-0 pitch from Banda to Nootbaar. He's in there for a strike with the sinker, 1-1. Nice pitch on the lower inside corner. Nootbaar had a little discussion with the ump to confirm that that was the corner. The 1-1 pitch from Banda. Way low and away with the slider, 2-1. So yeah, Banda does have a pretty high walk rate for a reliever. Nootbaar trying to take advantage of that. With Mason Wynn on deck. The 2-1 pitch. Just caught the outside corner with the slider. 2-2. So Banda dotting up a couple of pitches. Command a little bit out there, but if he can keep dotting up the corners, it'll work out for him. The 2-2 to Nootbaar. Way low and away with the slider, 3-2. So there's that command once again. Pitching is hard, man. Really, really, really hard. Hiding the pitch. Here's the 3-2 to Nootbaar. Top of the zone, hard hit ball to left field, but not hard enough. Catch made by Conforto, 2 down in the 7th. So Nootbaar finishes today 0 for 3, unless the Cardinals bat around over the course of the next couple innings. Here comes Mason Wynn. Wynn is 1 for 3 today with no strikeouts on the day, so continuing to make contact. He's the only one with the platoon advantage this inning, so it's going to be lefty-righty from Banda to Wynn. The pitch is inside 1-0. The 1-0 pitch to Mason Wynn. He's downstairs once again, 2-0. So Banda kind of all over the place, but able to put it, in the zone enough to get the first 2 hitters. It's his main job. He just has to do it again against Wynn or Donovan, and it'll be considered a great inning. The 2-0. Outside with the slider, 3-0. So pitching around the righty. Either that or his command is all over the place. My guess is the latter, but could very well just be a smart play. The 3-0 pitch. He is in there for a strike, 3-1. So we'll find out here if he's pitching around to Win by whether he's thrown a strike or missing once again. Here's the 3-1 to Mason Wynn. Right down the middle, so it looks like it was a command issue. Because pitching around him there, you would have thrown another ball. So now it's 3-2. With Brendan Donovan on deck. Nobody on, 2 outs to Win. Ground ball foul, we'll do it again. Wynn's having about an average game for him. Really good defense, 1 for 3, 770 OPS on the year. The 3-2 pitch goes the other way with another foul ball. Still 3-2. Banda's going to be at pitch number 15 of the inning. Trying to get through a quick one in the 7th. The 3-2 to Mason Wynn. Hard hit ball to right field, but Teoscar is there. It's playable. He makes the grab, and we'll go to the 8th. Still 4-0 St. Louis. So a 1-2-3 inning by Banda. Good job by him. Good decision by Roberts. And let's see. It's going to be Betts, Freeman, and Teoscar with Max Muncy as the fourth hitter of the inning. So that is righty, lefty, righty, lefty. And then Pajes is a righty. So no real consistency there, but you do have righties in 2 out of 3 hitters. So you probably don't want to stick with JoJo, but you could stick with JoJo for Betts, Freeman, and then go to a righty for Hernandez, Muncy, Pajes. I probably would not do that. We're looking at the 8th inning against the Dodgers. I would just go to a righty right now. One of our best pitchers in Leahy. So if I just pull up our bullpen, you can see Maton, Leahy. Those are 2 guys who you really do want to use right here. And it's the 8th inning, so you have Helsley for the 9th. The other of the 2 would be there to back up Helsley as well, whether that be Maton or or Leahy. So I would go to Leahy here. Keep Maton as a backup plan for Helsley in the 9th, and obviously use Helsley in the 9th inning. So either JoJo or Leahy is probably what we're going to see here for the Cardinals. So I'll grab Leahy's numbers. And I'll be back in 1 second. Alrighty. I am back. Let's take a look at the game. So it is still JoJo Romero, and he has an 0-2 count on Mookie Betts. So I step away for 1 second, and he gets 2 strikes. I'll take it. I'm also a little bit behind, so I'll catch up after this pitch. Here's the 0-2 to Mookie Betts. Ground ball. Through the hole for a base hit. That's why you don't stick with JoJo. 1 man on with nobody out. Let's see what JoJo can do against Freeman. That's why you left him in. Ideally, he can figure this one out at the very least. First pitch to Freddie. Swing and a miss on a sinker outside. It's 0-1. Freddie's been much worse against left-handed pitching this year. 792 OPS against lefties, 1.121 against righties. The 0-1 pitch. Just outside with the slider, 1-1. So this will probably be the last hitter for JoJo Romero. I understand why Ollie left him in, but I probably wouldn't have done that. The 1-1. Swing and a miss on a slider at the top of the zone, 1-2. If he can get Freddie, though, I'll call it a perfectly fine decision. As it was an option. The 1-2. Smoked deep to right field by Freddie. And that's going to be extra bases. So Victor Scott cuts it off, throws it in. And now the Dodgers have runners at second and third with nobody out after JoJo gives up 2 base runners. And the Dodgers are in business. So there you go. I was saying it, it makes sense potentially to go to JoJo, but when you get a righty that can face Betts and Teoscar, you never know for sure that you're going to get Freddie. So you leave in JoJo, it's going to bite you here, but here comes Maton. Maton's a great pitcher. He'll be able to get Teoscar, hopefully get Muncy and Pajes. Let's see how this works out. Even if you give up both of these runs, you give Helsley a chance to close out the game with a 2-run lead. That's usually going to be enough. So we can settle down. I just don't love the decision to stick with JoJo against a guy like Mookie Betts. That's like very tough rate of success. And then you have Freddie Freeman. He can hit anybody. And JoJo's not a guy with the type of command to really get the lefty-lefty advantage you want in that head-to-head. I think Matz is a better pitcher to face Freeman, as he has really good command. You don't really need excellent velocity. You just need to put it in the perfect spot where Freeman can't go get it, because he's a heck of a hitter, man. So the JoJo thing didn't work, but I think the Maton one will work out pretty well. It'll be Maton against Teoscar, Muncy, and Pages. So let me grab those matchups. Well, not matchups, but just grab Maton's numbers. Maton, he's got a 3 pitching run value with a 1.13 whip, but really good expected ERA, expected batting average, average exit velo, strikeout rate. I mean, all of the peripheral numbers. He's been really, really good. A 2.35 ERA. The walk rate at 7.3 is one of his worst numbers, and that's still not too bad. Still above average. Hopefully he can throw some strikes here, though. You really need them. All right, here we go. Maton, 23 innings pitched, 1.13 whip. We were just looking at that, but it's a little bigger there. First pitch to Teoscar with 2 on and nobody out. Swing and a miss on a sweeper low and in. It's 0-1. Teoscar Hernandez is 1 for 3 with a strikeout today. Maton's ahead in the count, 0-1. Here's the second pitch. Swing and a miss on a curveball down and away. It's 0-2. Cardinals are playing Teoscar to pull. Let's see if it works out. The 0-2 pitch to Teoscar Hernandez. Inside with the curveball, 1-2. So that one backed him up a little bit. Maybe they can go to the outside corner here. But the risk with that is that you're playing him to pull. So if he doesn't roll over it, could go the other way. Here's the 1-2. They do go down and away, and he swings over the curveball for strike 3. 1 down by Phil Maton. No damage done. Here comes Max Muncy. It's the second strikeout of the day for Teoscar. He chased that curveball. Muncy is 0 for 3 today, but he is yet to strike out. Seems to be seeing the ball pretty well, but he did pop one up earlier. First pitch from Maton to Muncy. Fouled back, it's 0-1. That was a sweeper right down the middle. Just above the middle of the zone. So it's tough to catch up to a pitch like that. Muncy has 9 home runs on the year. Here's the 0-1 pitch from Maton. Fouled back, it's 0-2. So another sweeper at the top of the zone. Maybe that's the scouting report on Muncy, as he doesn't like those. Who knows? I wish I had like an automatic heat map of the zone that told me what types of pitches and where to put them. But pitchers probably have that. Here's the 0-2. Ground ball foul. Still 0-2 on Muncy. Muncy has grounded into 3 double plays this year, but there's nobody on first, so that graphic means nothing. They keep showing these graphics. Here's the 0-2. Swing and a miss on a curveball at the bottom of the zone, and down goes Muncy. So a couple of strikeouts for Maton. That's going to bring up Andy Pages with 2 outs now in the 8th. So the runners on second and third have a chance to be stranded now. if Maton can just get one more out. Dodgers have 10 hits in the game and have yet to score. That's something you don't see very often. Maton pitching to Pages. Here's the pitch. Outside with the sweeper, 1-0. Pages, he is 2 for 3 with 2 singles in this one. Chance to drive in a couple of runs if he gets another single here. Maton on his 10th pitch. Here's the 1-0 to Pages. Right down the middle, fouled away, 1-1. That was a cutter. Maton has been simply fantastic this year for the Cardinals. Trying to extend that against Pages here. The 1-1. Swing and a miss on a curveball down and away, and it's 1-2. 1 strike away from getting out of it on just 12 pitches. Great job by Maton. But it's not quite done. 1 more pitch to Pages would do it. Cardinals lead by 4 with Freddie on second, Mookie on third. Andy Pages at the plate. 1-2 count with 2 outs. Here's the pitch from Maton. Ground ball. Over to first. Flipped. And they got him. Midway through the 8th, the Cardinals lead 4-0. What a job by Phil Maton. He came in with runners on second and third and nobody out and stranded them both. It is 4-0 Cardinals midway through the 8th. Holy smokes. So it'll be Donovan, Contreras, and Herrera. They could leave Banda in to face Donovan. Then go to a righty to face Contreras, Herrera, Arenado. That's something that you wouldn't advise a manager to put 3 righties in a row in your lineup. And I still agree with that. But Herrera is a guy with reverse splits. So it makes sense to some extent to have him between Contreras and Arenado. That's smart. I do like that from Oliver Marmol. So I can see why he did that. So from a Dodgers perspective, you go Banda and then you just go with whatever righty. Chris Stratton, Lou Trevino. Probably Trevino because you don't want to pitch Stratton against the Cardinals. They've seen him way too much in his development. Unless you just like to pitch him in St. Louis for the sake of giving him a chance to play. Either way, we can look at both of these guys. Lou Trevino. He's been average this year, 1.2 whip, 21 strikeouts in 21 innings, 3.74 ERA. Pretty good average exit velocity at just 86.8. That's really, really low. Good whiff rate. Has a pretty good strikeout rate and good walk rate. So, I mean, all the peripherals are there. That's why the ERA is at 3.74, despite the 1.2 whip. It's not too bad. Ground ball rate is not fantastic. And he doesn't really get a lot of chase. So, that's something he could help himself with. I think Trevino's a reasonable guy to go to here after the first hitter in Donovan. Let's see what they do. Banda could just stay in the game, at least for the one hitter. They will go to Stratton, so there you go. That was the other option. Chris Stratton is in the game. He's back in St. Louis, giving him a chance to pitch in this ballpark. He has a 7.65 ERA on the year. When you're down by 4 in the 8th and the bottom of your order's coming up, I guess that makes sense. Here's the 0-1 to Donovan. Low and in with the changeup, 1-1. Sometimes decisions are made more on emotions than strategy, and I completely understand that. Here's the 1-1. Low and in with the slider, 2-1. Either that or comfort. Could be that Stratton enjoys pitching in St. Louis, so they put him back out there. But he is behind in the count here. The 2-1 pitch to Donovan. Chopped back, 2-2. Dodgers have 0 runs on 10 hits. The Cardinals have 4 runs on 6 hits. The 2-2 pitch to Brendan Donovan. Fastball above the zone, it's 3-2. Chris Stratton, obviously a former Cardinal, made his way around the league over to the Dodgers. Here's the 3-2 to Donovan. Curveball right down the middle, fly ball to center field. Pajes is there, 1 out in the 8th. So that's going to bring up Wilson Contreras. He's a guy who's better against lefties. So Ivan Herrera is on deck. He has those reverse splits, so he might be able to hit Stratton well. First pitch is in there for a strike against Contreras. That was 93 low and away, 0-1. Contreras is 0 for 3 today with 2 flyouts and a strikeout. Hopefully he can get a hit. Get a hit streak going. The 0-1. Catches the inside corner with a slider. It's 0-2. As a former Cardinal, Stratton probably actually faced Contreras a few times while he was on the Cubs. See what he can do here. Contreras is hugging the plate right now, really, really close. Here's the 0-2. It's low and away, 1-2. He is way out over the plate as a hitter. You don't see a guy dig in this close to the plate hardly ever. Okay, he's not doing it again. I guess he just dug in a little bit strange last pitch. Here's the 1-2. He goes down and gets one, sends it deep to left field, and gone. A solo home run for Wilson Contreras extends the lead to 5-0. Absolutely crushed that one. 7th home run of the year, 37th RBI, 102 miles an hour off the bat at 34 degrees for a 386-foot bomb. 5-0 St. Louis. What a swing by Contreras. Just dropped a changeup low and in, and Contreras sent that one to the moon. 34 degrees is kind of high for a home run, but everybody knew it was gone just by the launch angle. Well, I guess what I mean by that is the angle into the field. And that's not really the launch angle, but he was right down that third base line for a homer. Stratton throws a curveball to Herrera. In there for a strike, it's 0-1. Second pitch to Ivan. Fastball low and away for a strike, it's 0-2. So yeah, Stratton really hung that pitch to Contreras, and Contreras did not miss it. It was a little low and in, but it was a pitch you can definitely go and get. The 0-2, ground ball up the middle. Nice play by Mookie Betts, and he'll grab Herrera and rob him of a base hit. Fantastic play there by Betts. 2 down, and that's going to bring up Nolan Arenado. That'll bring those Betts outs above average back up toward... Actually, I think he already has a +3 this year, so that's going to put him at 4 outs above average, if that one was above average, which I think it was. First pitch to Arenado is low and away. It's 1-0. Arenado is 3 for 3 on the day with 3 singles. Also scored a run. The 1-0 pitch from Stratton. He is upstairs 2-0. Two-0 pitch to Arenado. Right down the middle, popped up. And into the seats. That's a foul ball, 2-1. There's nobody on. The Cardinals lead this one 5-0. I guess we probably won't see Helsley in the ninth. Maybe you'll see Leahy. I don't really see the Cardinals going to a low-quality reliever. It is still the Dodgers. Here's the 2-1 pitch from Stratton. Fastball down the middle, popped foul, 2-2. So nobody on, 2 outs. The 2-2 pitch to Arenado, who is trying to go 4 for 4. Pulls one foul, still 2-2. 4-hit games are pretty rare. It'd be cool to see another one of those. Someone brought their giant Arenado head to the game. That's always a lot of fun. He also painted a seat gold, the one that he made a couple of Gold Glove catches into, the 2-2 pitch. Fouled away again. Cardinals really enjoying this one on the bench. The Youngry crew, you know. Donovan, Wynn, Contreras. The 2-2 pitch, swing and a miss. He's just going to walk off to the dugout. That is a put out by the Dodgers, and we go to the ninth. It is 5-0 after a Wilson Contreras home run on a hanging curveball from Stratton. Low and in. 5-0. Let's see who the Cardinals go to out of the pen. It's going to be Conforto, Edman, and Rushing. So it's going to be lefty, switch, lefty. Unless Conforto's a switch, I don't remember. Yeah, okay, lefty, switch, lefty. So you can go to a lefty. Steven Matz would make sense here, I guess. That'd be a good closing decision. Yeah, Steven Matz. I'm going to grab his numbers. Matz, 7 pitching run value, 7 fastball run value. Hasn't had a good changeup this year, but has had a pretty good breaking ball. Lowest walk rate in baseball, pretty good ground ball rate. Doesn't get a lot of whiff. So if they swing, they usually make contact. That's not always good. But the contact has been pretty weak. Actually, that's not even true. It's been hit pretty hard. And he doesn't strike out a whole lot of hitters, so that's not fantastic, but the ground ball rate at 60th percentile has saved him a lot, and he doesn't walk anybody, so with the great defense like the Cardinals have, that helps him out a lot. It will be Steven Matz, so there you go. Marmol making good decisions, so was Dave Roberts. I think this was a really well-managed game. Roberts just didn't get lucky today. So here comes Steven Matz to try to close this one out. 5-run lead in the ninth. You can kind of get... I would probably get Helsley stretching to maybe bring him in against Betts, Freeman, Hernandez if we get to that point, but... Conforto, Edman, Rushing, and Ohtani should be enough for Matz, hopefully. Let's see what happens. So it is a pinch hitter, Kike Hernandez. Takes strike 1 on the outside corner. It's 0-1. His name is Enrique, but obviously Dodgers fans call him Kike. It's been his nickname forever, as a changeup catches the outside corner, 0-2. He's been good against Mats in his career, hitting .333 with a home run. The 0-2, swing and a miss on a changeup down and away, and there's a strikeout. So the 9th strikeout of Kike's career against Steven Matz. That's going to bring up Tommy Edman batting from the right-hand side. So any platoon advantage you thought you were going to get by bringing in Matz is no longer there. Pitch to Edman. He is in the dirt, 1-0. I wonder if they're going to go to Will Smith off of the bench, or if they'll stick with rushing. Here's the 1-0 pitch to Edman. Fastball caught the bottom of the zone, 1-1. Edman has 1.3 WAR this year. Did have a single back in the 7th. Ground ball to short. Mason Wynn. Out number 2. So one more out for Mats would get this game over with. Let's see who's going to hit in the catcher slot. Quick zoom on Dave Roberts. So maybe they do pinch hit again. Maybe not. This one's looking pretty good for the Cardinals. It's a 5-run lead. It is a right-handed pinch hitter. It's going to be Miggy Rojas. So, an interesting pinch hit decision here. You're just going to try to get him on base, and then you could go to a different catcher if you were able to tie this one. That makes a lot of sense. Give Will Smith the full day off. I don't know if he's injured or something. Probably just a day off against the right-handed pitcher. Steven Matz caught the outside corner. Here's the 0-2 pitch to Miguel Rojas. Low and in with the curveball, 1-2. Rojas has negative 0.5 WAR so far this year. Very capable shortstop, but just hasn't hit too well. The 1-2. Just low and away, 2-2. He does have a home run in 38 games. Wouldn't mean too much to hit another one here, but here's the 2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss, and down goes Rojas. The ball game is over. Steven Matz closes out what is a shutout of the Dodgers. Cardinals win it 5-0. What a game. You saw home runs from Contreras, from Pajes, and then obviously just a lot of good rallies. Great job by the Cardinals, and they stranded so many runners. It was a 10-hit game with no runs scored for the Dodgers. Cardinals score 5 runs on 7, and they look to continue that tomorrow. We'll see you guys very soon. Thanks for watching, and thanks for listening.